our celebration of the UN75, I wish that we highlight three key trends that is shaping our future. It is the migration, the climate change, and the energy, food, and water nexus. We need to exert our collective efforts to work to address those issues globally and regionally and nationally.
بسبب التغيرات في الأسواق العالمية أتمنى أن تكون الاستثمارات داخل دولة الكويت لأجل افتتاح أسواق جديدة، مهن جديدة ووظائف متعددة.
Agriculture sheds light on SDG 9, industry innovation and infrastructure, renewable energy resources with focus on SDG 7, affordable and clean energy.
Given the global normative force that focus on moving away from traditional pattern of economic growth and with more aggressive and structural transformation for Kuwait, I really believe that the inclusive sustainable development must tackle the economic and social and environmental development at the same time. And we must understand that silo approach that focuses on the one dimension at the expense of another would have less impact on our development goals.
Kuwait SDG Innovation Lab will give the opportunity for our youth to show their innovation and to share the knowledge that they can give and share from others to find solutions for global issues like climate change or crisis prevention or conflict resolution, which are main global trends that we need to address.
يحظى التغيير المناخي على اهتمام كثير من الدول والمجتمع الدولي بشكل عام لأنه يشكل خطورة على المستقبل وممكن أن نكون كلنا جزء من هذا الحل وهذا من خلال زيادة الوعي على الموضوع.
The education, the understanding, the acceptance of the other is important in our world today. I would say the first most important element is to educate, the second is to educate, the third to educate. Education in its wider meaning, awareness is one element, understanding is one element, acceptance is another element. UNHCR works with its partners all over the world on promoting understanding of the needs of the people and the legal and international law related to the forced displacement and the solutions that we can contribute to all together, states, communities and individuals.
The global trends that will most affect our future pertain to technological development and sustainability. Hence, we need to strengthen the capacities of all people for a changing world of work and strengthen the capacities of institutions of work to ensure adequate protection for all workers.
There are positive trends and negative trends that we need to take care of. The positive trends could be the technological advances that will affect the global economy in the future. And of course, the negative trends will be the environmental impact.
The United Nations celebrated its 75th anniversary this year, and Kuwait celebrates its 57th anniversary as a member to the United Nations. This is a reminder for us for the strong partnership that Kuwait had throughout the years with the United Nations and that we are building on through our strategic partnership framework. COVID-19 is a stark reminder to the need for cooperation across all sectors and generations. As we all know, everything we do during and after this crisis must be with a strong focus on building more equal, inclusive and sustainable economies and societies that are more resilient in the face of pandemics and climate change and many other global challenges.
The future of Kuwait in the next 15 years is very promising. Personally, I'm very optimistic, seeing the current projects and initiatives the state of Kuwait is taking currently shows that the future is going to be way better. Youth are the future. Nothing would be possible to be achieved without the efforts of the youth of Kuwait.
To play a positive role and to move forward in finding solutions, we need to work together. One state cannot do it all, one individual cannot do it all, one group of people cannot do it all. This is why UNHCR called for the Global Forum for Refugees that focused on the need for burden sharing amongst different players, be it a state, be it an institution or an individual. No one can do it alone, but no single action is irrelevant. We all can do it together, be it an individual, institution or a state.
يلعب الشباب الدور الأبرز في تحقيق رؤية الكويت 2035 ويمكن تحقيق هذه الرؤية على أرض الواقع من خلال مشاركة الشباب الجدية والفعلية وتفرع الشباب في شتى المجالات والتخصصات.
To achieve the Kuwait Vision 2035 of Kuwait being a financial and trade hub, we need to encourage Kuwait youth to work away from the public sector, join the private sector, and especially entrepreneurship, exploring SMEs, and that will take a lot of training and capacity building to get them toward that direction.
So I picture a Kuwait that is prosperous, where opportunities and good quality of life is shared among all residents alike, where the resources, the human capital, and the environmental and cultural assets are all put together to work and be up to the challenge of the 21st century.
I see Kuwait becoming more independent on solar power, and I see the youth helping out through like climate marches, as we see all around the globe. That's been a trend that's very popular, so I see the youth of Kuwait joining in on that.
خلال 15 سنة الجاية الكويت راح تمر مرحلة تغيير كبيرة واحنا قاعدين نلتمسها من الحين بناء على السياسات الداخلية وكذلك الخارجية اللي احنا قاعدين نشوفها اللي تتعلق بطريقة واستراتيجيات الدولة في التعامل مع تحديات هذا العصر. وأكيد الشباب راح يلعبون دور محوري في هذا الشيء، قاعدين نشوفها في تغير القياديين، في تغير أعمالهم، في تغير أيضا توجهاتهم وخلفياتهم العلمية والأكاديمية وكذلك خبراتهم.
I picture intelligent men and women who are socially well informed and can also adapt to best practices at different sectors, at a regional and international level, advocates for sustainable development goals, promote health, well-being, safe environment, and other pressing issues in their community, exchange knowledge and information.
أتمنى أن نلقى طاقة بديلة عن النفط في دولة الكويت بحيث أن توفي الاحتياج العادي والمتواجد حالياً، تكون هذه طاقة نظيفة لأجل أن يشكرون الأجيال القادمة.
I could see Kuwait in the coming 15 years one of the most important countries in the whole region, if not globally. Kuwait is well known in its humanitarian support to all the countries that are in support without any discrimination. At the same time, it's helping many other countries in their developments and in peacekeeping. So Kuwait will be, and I see a lot of very positive future for Kuwait. In respect of SDGs, Kuwait is progressing a lot. In respect, for example, inclusion of disabled or people in need, at the same time empowering of women, and also looking after the youth who are the most important people for the future. Their future is very important for us and for them, and therefore Kuwait is one of the countries that are involving the youth in planning their future. And this is well seen and noted in the Kuwaiti new plan for the coming 5 years.
So the way I see, or I want to see Kuwait in the coming 15 years is that it will be a country that's not more dependent. It will be a country that will be investing in its youth population, where there will be leaders in the world, among other leaders, for a better future for the country and for the whole Arab world.
In the next 15 years, I picture Kuwait being led by youth as a driving force for development.
Working together to address the challenges that the world is facing is so important. Countries need to exert more effort to work in a multilateral approach. The United Nations is the venue and the platform where all countries can voice their priorities, exert collective efforts and discussions to achieve and realize sustainable development goals.
I truly welcome all of you to UN75 initiative. This initiative is the biggest ever global conversation. We can really get together and get involved in the regional and global development discourse that informs and shapes our future we want. But this must be tackled by sharing innovative knowledge and idea, including government, private sector, and international organizations and academics, as well as, most importantly, any of a single individual who want to make a change. This is the platform where we can contribute to our world.
It's important for all countries in the world to work together to achieve the targets, to accomplish the trends. It's basically working as a team is way much better than working individually.
Agenda 2030 is a global agenda, and it requires everyone to collaborate together. So it's very important for every country and every entity to work towards achieving these goals. I think it's very important to do it through South-South collaborations and triangular collaboration and exchange experiences between countries.
I believe all countries worldwide need to join efforts together to face these global trends, whether they are positive ones or negative ones. At least we have to address them in a proper way that would be able to allow youth to develop themselves, evolve in their ways of thinking and mentalities, along to develop also their lifestyles in a way that would be suitable for humanity.
So boundaries are not between countries, at least the virtual ones. So countries should come work together because these boundaries are going to fade in the future.
I personally believe in the One UN approach, and working as one by all the UN agencies will help Kuwait and all other countries that are supported by the UN in this approach. So I am with it.
We are witnessing an unprecedented amount of people who are fleeing their homes because of persecution and in need of protection around the world. The numbers today reached more than 70 million people, and the unprecedented amount of negative feelings toward these people. Kuwait today plays a positive role in this matter when it acts in support of the efforts to provide those people with the basic needs and the means to keep their lives and their dignity. Millions of people today benefited from this positive approach from the state of Kuwait.
We need to continue having empathy and to continue helping each other in times of distress, and most importantly, we need to advocate for those who need help.
It does not matter whether your country is developed or not developed. The achievement of SDGs requires actions by every country and everyone. I'm very confident that Kuwait has a great potential to come up with very innovative and creative solutions.
Since I'm working with UNDP, I could see that UNDP can help a lot in Kuwait, especially in the development areas of having new policies, implementation of policies related to women, related to youth, related to the future of Kuwait. So UNDP can contribute a lot in that aspect.
A good leadership leads to positive change. Personally, I'll strive to build a solid foundation in my domain and assist and support those who need help, and promote my peers and successors to follow the same so we can strengthen our bond as one UN.
For my part, to support this change in the world, I would see myself just continuing to recycle and limit my use of single-use plastic.
So the youth of today are going to be the workforce of tomorrow. What can people do to be up to the challenge? Is to prepare yourself to take the decisions and make the changes that are needed for the future you want. The simple changes can make a lot. Changing consumption patterns, reducing waste, helping protect the water resources, saving energy, and most of all, changing to a better and more healthier lifestyles for the future.
Now, to do the change, we have to work together more and more, and as DSS more committed to fulfill with their duty to enable all programs toward this big change for the United Nations.
There are three key reforms that is needed in youth and education, globally, regionally, and locally. The first one is actually to ensure that the voices of youth are heard in their curriculums, in their political life, in their social engagement worldwide. The second one is actually about how the type and form of education that harness the innovation of youth, their energy and their actually collective voices. The third one is about giving the youth the best opportunity for jobs, for social interaction, and for having a quality of life.
Education is not at the classroom anymore. So the whole education system has to change, to adapt. And we see some countries are doing much better than others. And we hope we see it as a universal thing.
I see Kuwait more advanced in 2035, achieving new Kuwait vision. I see the youth contribution in Kuwait advancement in terms of their innovation and as a workforce and also in sports.
In the future, I would like to see reform in regards of higher education, providing more opportunities for the youth to be able to continue their education. I would also like to see reform in including and educating persons with disabilities. And lastly, I would like to see reform in just general education when it comes to climate change for the youth as well as the adults.
أهم 3 إصلاحات نتمنى تواجدها بحلول 2035: دعم تعليم الفتيات بشكل أكبر وأن لا يتم استهداف المدارس في أوقات الحرب، أن يتم دمج التعليم بالمعرفة وتمكين الشباب من تبني أساليب حياة مستدامة ومواجهة تغيير المناخ، وأن يتم دعم وتمكين المبادرات الشبابية الهادفة للاستدامة.
A greener world, free of conflict, and with global equal access to human rights, whether economic, cultural, or social, without any discrimination.
We need to create a human-centered future. It is a time for transformative change in the world of work. It is imperative that we act with urgency to seize the opportunities to ensure fairer, secure, and more inclusive a future of work with full employment and decent work for all.
We are on track to create a better world led by the SDG goals.
We want to create a future with more social justice, for everyone to get a chance and opportunity to health, education, safety, and decent jobs for women, men, and youth.
نسعى لمستقبل زاهر حيث الأمن والعدل والمساواة وإتاحة التعليم للجميع والسلام يسود. في حال تعاون وتضافر جميع الجهود من الأفراد والمجتمعات والحكومات فنحن حتماً على الطريق الصحيح.
في هذا الزمن عندنا صوت مسموع نقدر نقدم فيه حلول واستراتيجيات، وكذلك أن نبدع في أن نمهد حق حلول سهلة لأي مشكلة ممكن تواجهنا عشان نحقق الهدف المرجو، سواء على مستوى الدولة أو على مستوى كذلك القطاع الخاص.
The future that I and everyone in Kuwait wants to create is a prosperous future that is involving every single one in this community with its development plan. The future, we want it to be in line with the 2035 SDGs for the United Nations and the Kuwait National Development Plan 2030.
من المشاريع الشبابية الداعمة لخطة الكويت للتنمية مشروع ريفود، هو مشروع معني بوقف الهدر في القطاع الغذائي عن طريق توفير المواد الآمنة ذات الصلاحية المحدودة للأسر المتعففة داخل دولة الكويت، مما يساهم في توفير بيئة معيشية مستدامة وتعزيز المكانة الدولية لدولة الكويت، وكذلك دعم أهداف التنمية المستدامة كالقضاء على الفقر والجوع ومواجهة التغير المناخي وعقد الشراكات مع مختلف الجهات.
Today, Kuwait is leading many digital projects within the 2035 National Development Plan. The youth of today are necessary to ensure this digital transformation and sustainable development, which all drives to a stronger economy and inclusive development. And it will position Kuwait in the top in the region.
One of the youth initiatives in Kuwait is Kuwait Commute. They're working to bring awareness to the use of public transport in Kuwait and working with the government to provide better bus stops, better public transport, and make it easier for many people to access it.
Youth are a major resource in Kuwait, especially given that they are 65% of the population. So a lot of our programs are focused and geared toward improve empowerment of youth and for youth on the implementation of these programs and projects.
the only action we need to take to bridge the gap is actually taking an action. Start taking initiatives, start taking actions. The change starts within each and every one of us. Be the change.
To bridge the gaps, all countries have to work together to make this vision possible. And all UN agencies and funding programs also have to work together as one UN to make this global vision happen.
We need more collaboration between the United Nations organizations and the government of Kuwait, along with the Gulf countries, all together at different levels, achieving SDG 17. We will be achieving our aspirations for Kuwait Vision 2035.
I think it requires greater collaboration with the private sector. By aligning goals of businesses and the achievement of SDGs, we can make a bigger impact.
The most important action that needs to be taken to bridge the gap to achieve Agenda 2030 is the collaboration with the private sector and financing for the goals.
To bridge the gap, we need a collective action and tripartite coordination between governments, employers, and workers' organizations through social dialogue, which provides the basic foundation for policy and decision-making process.
Education will be focused on trying to introduce modern education with high-quality standards so we can produce graduates who are suitable for the labor market.
I'm an optimist, so I believe that people will be better off in 2035 because I trust in our youth to be the leaders and pioneers of tomorrow, to build a future that we want through new sources of energy, new technologies, and entrepreneurship.
I strongly believe that people in 2035 will be better off. That's mainly because of the technological advantage. People will gain more benefits out of this.
Agenda 2030 is all about leaving no one behind. So I really believe people in 2030 will be much better than what we are today.
I believe people in 2035 will be better off for sure, for two reasons. One of them is the technological advancement, as technology nowadays is helping us to improve our lives. Second is because of the awareness and the culture that we are living. We are more accepting to other values and other patterns in our life.
I see people in 2035 better off in terms of health because we'll be mitigating the effect of climate change, we'll be planting more trees, and we will lessen the effect of sand dust storm on the general environment of Kuwait.
أتمنى ب 2035 يكون المستقبل مشرق، يكون في سلام وفي أمان، وأكيد في تكنولوجيا تساعدنا إحنا كبني بشر إن نكمل هدفنا بهذه الحياة، وكذلك إن إحنا بيئياً نكون بوضع أفضل أكيد.
I think overall we'll be better off, especially with the new awareness being raised about problems such as global warming, climate change, and people being encouraged to be more sustainable in terms of the environment. And I think the UN is taking the correct step in giving the youth the opportunity to voice their concerns and be a part of this conversation.